controls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas are back home for a weekend series, July 18th, 19th, and 20th. The homestand includes post-game fireworks for Tennessee Titans night, Friday the 18th, and Margaritaville night on Saturday the 19th, before concluding the weekend on the 20th as the Lunáticos de Rocket City. Get your tickets for the homestand now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
John Abraham here for Bobcat of Huntsville. Right now till the end of June, you can get 0% financing on the world-famous line of Bobcat skid steers, excavators, mowers, and tractors. Need attachments? They got them. And did I mention 0% as in nada? No financing charge for 48 months. It's like free money. Visit the brand new Bobcat of Huntsville in their tremendous new facilities on Highway 20 in Madison, right next to Redstone Harley-Davidson.
4 days, 16 teams. SEC Media Days coverage with Talkin' Ball, The Blitz, Tom Abraham, and The Drive will be live from Atlanta, July 14th to 17th. SEC football lives on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll, and I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed last week. There is no better way to start a brand new week than out here at Jefferson's. We're technically, it says Huntsville.
Yeah.
But I ain't buying it. This is Newmarket.
I did see the sign that said Huntsville city limit.
Yeah.
So it means I left Huntsville.
There's someone in the Huntsville City Council we need to talk to about this being downtown Huntsville. And there is a billboard right above where we're at out here. Mm-hmm. What is the name of that road out there?
Winchester.
I believe that's right. I think you're spot on right
that's
there.
That's what my direction said.
Yeah. Winchester is where we're at. And honestly, we're closer to Buckhorn High School than we are downtown Huntsville. Although this is Huntsville, magically. Why? That is Drudy Armand, by the way. Wes Neighbors is still out enjoying the toes in the sand down at Miramar Beach. But nonetheless, we've got you for 2 hours, and much like the Braves bats, I have struck out so far in terms of trying to get some guests for today, but we've got plenty to
you got
gnaw on.
You got Drudy Armand. What else do you need?
That is exactly right. I've got some audio to sift through. I got a lot of really good feedback off of last week, off of a bunch of older interviews. In fact, Miss Marilyn called me just out of the blue. Marilyn Fuller, who periodically listens, and I sent her some links, and hope she's doing well. She had a little bit of a heart issue.
Oh, wow.
But happy to report that mind that sodium there, Miss Marilyn. But other than that, all good on that front. And re-racked a bunch of conversations, be it with the late, great Bobby Bowden, anyway, last week I heard
I saw you guys put several of your recaps up, some of the old stuff.
That's right. Yeah. So couldn't help but want to dig into some of the older shows. But we're back here. We're live, and we're let's see here. We're local. We're late breaking. We're all that stuff here, and we've got a full 2 hours. I can tell you, Braves fans, that the Braves will not lose today
because they don't play.
So there's that, but the Braves will not lose today as they make their way out to Sacramento to take on the Athletics.
The Sac A's.
That's right. We'll dive into that series. How about getting swept by the Orioles?
Who were? I will say this: before that series started, I was like, "Wow! If you had told someone before the season that's what was going to happen, it's probably the two biggest underachievers in baseball."
The Braves are 1-5 in the month of July.
Yeah, and trust me, as we all know, with my ongoing battle with Comcast, I don't get it. But here's what happened. I was dog sitting, and so through Amazon Prime, I get to watch it.
You were what?
And of course, it was just
he was dog sitting.
He needs to enunciate. He needs to almost hit the button.
Yeah, I mean, it
was sitting.
Yeah, I was just, boy, I tell you what, it was hard to watch. I mean, they lost.
That is basically the
I got fed up
of the season.
And on Friday and left, and it was 3-0. That one turned into a 3-2 loss, and then I tuned in the middle of the second game. They were up 6-5. I was like, well, they might have a chance here, but really, what they should have done is broken it wide open because that
was the bullpen loaded. Game right there that he's talking about.
Bases loaded, nobody out, and of course they get one run on a Jerickson Profar ground out. And then it go ahead and lose 9-6.
The
extra innings.
The one win I actually attended because the Angels were in town, and of course the Angels are the parent club of the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Right.
So I reached out to the Angels. They were kind enough, and I sat in the visiting dugout.
Wow.
And right before batting practice, and more or less kept them running and kept them raw. But I will say, of all the Trash Pandas, former Trash Pandas, they were fantastic. But Christian Moore in particular, the one question I got the biggest rise out of, I said, what does the third Saturday in October mean to you? And boy, that was the longest answer he gave me. Was just, let me tell you, so is that game in Tuscaloosa this year? Yes, it is. I will be in Tuscaloosa.
Get ready to take your L, punk. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, he is Vol for life.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Yeah. You're going to get another L. And you hadn't won there since 2004 when all it took was – I'm sorry, 2003. And when it was 1st and 2. Should have been an L that year too. Last win they should have had was over Fraud Phony in 01.
I was about to say, isn't that Franchione? Yeah.
Fraud Phony. So,
well, why are we here at Jefferson's? Because later on this week, whenever Tom Abraham decides to show up, I can tell you that if you head over to our website, 977ESPN.com, click on the upper left-hand banner, which reads Savings Never Tasted So Good.
Right.
That is our big zone deals.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, quite a few of you enjoyed some barbecue off of our big zone deals, and appreciate that from over the weekend. Hope everybody has the same amount of digits that they had last week as well. But I say all that to say Jefferson's will be on our big zone deal board coming up, I assume, Wednesday or Thursday. So be on the lookout there. And the last time we had Jefferson's, it went pretty quick. This was a couple of months ago. So, in fact, Brian back at the ranch, I asked if he wanted a fried pickle. And so there you go, Brian. They're fried
wonderful.
pickle.
They're absolutely wonderful.
But they are. They are.
I have it on good authority that those of you who are Gamecocks, this Jefferson's location does the mothership very well.
Yes.
There you go.
And that's a great job by Brian, because the original was or is in Jacksonville, Alabama, and and there you go.
They started about the right time I was there, and so they've had 30 years or so to figure it out.
There you go.
Or so.
Yeah.
Or so. I had the or so.
256-576-4977 is the telephone number. We are going to be pretty much open. That is until if I hear from somebody. But like the Braves bats when men are on base, I have struck out a good bit here today. It's almost as if this is part of a holiday. And 1 week from today, we will be in Atlanta getting ready for SEC football. And actually 2 weeks from today, we'll be talking high school over at Trash Panda Stadium and having our high school football media day. So it's right on top of us, Drew.
It really is. And both those events are back to back. And it's, and we stay busy. I know we everybody took some downtime in June and July, but in June we still had the Rocket City Awards.
Yeah.
And so, and then now
the previous month we had the golf tournament,
our charity golf tournament, out at Cherokee Ridge,
for Make-A-Wish Foundation.
So even our off season is busy, and then of course we always looked at SEC Media Days. This year we'll be in Atlanta. We will not have to go on a Cannonball Run and/or Smokey and the Bandit.
No, we will not.
So
I am hearing that we will get the rotation set officially of Atlanta, Nashville, Dallas of that triangle. Now, I still have yet to get confirmation, but I know I heard at least from one person that I trust in the SEC office they were thinking about New Orleans as well.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. I don't know, but at least those three, I don't know how many people care about where SEC Media Days is, but we do.
And we do. And if before somebody says, what about Hoover? Well, then build a new luxury hotel.
Yeah, Hoover is done.
Yeah, you got to build something. Well, they did build it and use the Hoover Met to attract the baseball. But if they want to, they have to do something similar to get Media Days back. It's just the way it is.
Well, there's a couple of things that I'm sure you may hear about tomorrow morning if I can't scoop Scott Tyson. But ESPN has ranked every SEC football team ahead of the 25 season. And your top 4 teams in the SEC are LSU, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, but not in that order. What order do you think the top 4 are?
My order for me would probably be Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and then LSU.
Your top 4, again, this is what did they use here? ESPN, college football FBI plus the SP plus metric, which was the SP plus metric was part of that document that what so many people, Joel Klatt, called propaganda.
Propaganda, yeah.
And I'm trying to get the exact definition that the SEC
You know what
used.
propaganda is, Steve?
What is propaganda?
When Sports Illustrated names Deion Sanders the Sportsman of the Year for going 4-8, that's propaganda.
The SP Plus is efficiency ratings. That's efficiency plus adjusted performance. Highlights teams and league quality. So that's what ESPN did. And here is the ranking system. I'll go 4-1 since I just highlighted the 4. For those of you that were listening to the Tom Abraham show, I was subbing in there earmuffs. LSU, 9th nationally ranked, 4th in the SEC. 3rd is Texas. The Longhorns are 5th nationally and ranked 3rd in the SEC. Georgia is 2nd in the SEC and 4th nationally. And the Alabama Crimson Tide, number 1, 2nd nationally by ESPN.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Like I said, I wouldn't have thought that Alabama was going to be picked first in the SEC by ESPN. I can see it because if Ty Simpson is an outstanding quarterback,
yeah,
and with everything they've got back defensively, and if they can plug the holes on the special teams, because see that's the one aspect people aren't really talking about at all. Like they lost their long snapper Neil Hibbett, they lost their kicker Graham Nicholson, one year guy. And then they
They stole him, remember?
Oh, yeah, they stole him from Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
That bastion of power. Now that they don't have Big Ben.
That's right.
But anyway, and then they lost Burnip. So they lost those 3 key guys. They do have some returners back. Some of them, then those are gone. But they've got enough good athletes to be able to return the football, whether it be punt or kickoff. But you got to replace those 3. They brought in a long snapper from Cal Berkeley, Bird, and then who was not really healthy in the spring. It looks like that they feel like they have their answer at place kicker. He had to serve he'll be a redshirt sophomore. Talty. Connor Talty, and then we'll see what happens. I really don't know with the punter yet. It may end up being the freshman who was recovering from an ACL injury. So we'll see. But that'll play itself out. They also had the young man from the City of Mines who transferred in.
Oh, that's right.
And from the portal, and I thought he was iffy the little bit I saw of spring and then what I heard. But again, it could end up being the freshman from Cali who's recovering from an ACL could be the guy.
Well, on top of that, Circus Sports just updated their over-under win totals for the SEC. And so there's a lot that have the same total. So it kind of intrigues me on who might be overrated or underrated. There is 3 at the top. The 3 at the top are Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. Circus Sports has Alabama, Georgia, and Texas ranked at 9.5 wins, both for Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. Any of one of those teams you like more than the other for this season?
I mean, I do like Texas because I do think Arch is going to be really good. And I think they've surrounded him by good players. I think they've tried to, especially in the portal, they were aggressive along the defensive line. Now, the one thing you never know is how they're going to mesh together, especially if you do bring in a bunch of portal guys. And that's my biggest question about LSU because I think they've got some really good players. But
LSU's not on this 3 list of
I know,
Bama, Georgia, Texas.
But what my analogy is they went really portal heavy on defense.
Yes, they did.
They brought in a ton of guys
and wide receivers.
Well, yeah, but and so defensively, LSU could either be really improved and really good, or we could see chapter 3 of the disaster of 2 years ago, and even before that, the return of Bo Pelini. In both of those years were 2 of the worst in LSU history.
Is Bo Davis still at LSU? Or
no, he went to the Saints.
That's right. That's right. That's
so he
a problem.
went to the Saints.
That's a problem.
And even last year, people thought LSU would be better defensively, but at times they weren't very good. So we'll see. And so with those other 3, with Georgia, their biggest bugaboo last year is they couldn't run the ball.
Correct.
Because everybody knows Kirby, he'll throw it, but he wants to run the ball.
Yep.
They weren't physical enough. They couldn't run the ball. And I think defensive line wise, while they were still good, they weren't elite. And that put a lot of pressure on their secondary. And so they gave up some plays. They were still really good defensively, but not being balanced offensively, not being able to run the ball. And I think that ended up leading to Carson Beck not having a good year. They put too much on Beck. He got hit too much. And then by the end of the year, everybody was ready for a divorce.
I'm sure you probably heard, this was before last week, Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach, he had this to say about Arch.
I think most people are picking Texas to win the SEC football.
Most
correct?
people are. I think that is going to be the consensus preseason pick.
They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman, too. Yeah. And my question is, if he was this good, how come they let Quinn Ewers play all the time last year?
Even though he was hurt off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still.
And he was a 7th-round pick.
Yes, exactly.
And Arch is going
and now they're saying Arch is going to be the first pick. I'm like, that's a good point.
Well, you only have to ask the coach, Sark. How come you played that one instead of this one? Hopefully you'll say, because we thought he was better than that one.
Yeah.
Isn't that why you played one guy and not the other? Unless it's a discipline, and there was no discipline.
You were never hesitant about pulling guys.
Putting the guy best. One guy struggling, give the other guy a chance.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's one thing I'll say about
snap.
That's one thing I'll give Steve Spurrier, except for Shane Matthews and Danny Werfel. Pretty much, he didn't rotate. He rotated. Those were probably.
I bet Jesse Palmer has still got like flashbacks.
Eric Kresser, Jesse Palmer. You go down the list of guys that,
like every time he'd look to the sideline.
Hey, Terry Dean, he was in the front of the Heisman race, and then by the middle of the year, he didn't even play.
That's right. I think head ball coach has a point.
And then Noah Brandeis, he was a walk-on. He played Noah.
If he's so great, why didn't he play more last year?
And I thought when he played, he did a pretty good job. But look. I'll tell Coach Spurrier, and he didn't ever have to deal with it. He wouldn't have wanted to. With this NIL stuff, and certain guys are getting paid, a certain percentage. That's just it's the same thing in the NFL. You see it unless they absolutely have to, they're not going to do anything. And Ewers, don't forget, he was the number 1 player in the country when he came out of school, and he was a good player at Texas. And the reason people are going to ask the question though is because Arch Manning. It's a Manning, And then when Arch came in, he did play well. But you also got to remember this too with Arch. Is that Manning's what I like about him. They ain't worried about got to play now, got to play now, got to play now. They've all been patient with their careers. And so if I got to wait, does anybody believe Romero Miller was better than Eli Manning?
No.
In the long term? No. But Eli waited, and it all worked out. And I think the same thing's going to be said for Arch. Now, is a Manning unbeatable? No. Manning has never won a national championship. They've won 1 SEC title. And so we'll see. And we'll see, how they do at Texas. But, again, I think Texas is the best team on paper. I think Alabama has got a chance to be really good too. I think Alabama defensively is a sleeper. And what I mean by that, because nobody's really talked about them a lot defensively. They're more focused on the receiver additions. Is the running game going to be better? And, of course, Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
But I think Alabama defensively, with all they've got back and then some of the pieces they added, I think they have a chance to be outstanding.
256-576-4977, the telephone number. So that's the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
The next one at 8.5 wins, LSU, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Ole Miss, LSU, and Tennessee. I'm not thinking that highly of Tennessee. I really am. I really am not, Drew. Am I crazy to think that? Or Tennessee at 8.5 wins feels like a stretch.
Well, it just depends on how they do. First of all, how good is the young man from Appalachian and UCLA?
Aguilar.
Yep. How good is Aguilar? Because
is that schedule easier than I think it is?
Because they were counting on Nico Iamale Moneybags to be a great player. But I think if anybody could watch it closely and listened, even before the end of last season, things were getting off the track.
Yeah.
And then you lose the best running back, I thought, in the SEC last year. And they had a really good running game. They lost some pieces, along the offensive line. And I thought defensively they were good, not great.
Tell me if you hear 9 wins. Syracuse, that's at the Georgia Dome, or whatever they're calling it. Anyway, Mercedes-Benz. East Tennessee State, Georgia, UAB, at Mississippi State, host Arkansas, Bama, at Kentucky, host Oklahoma, host New Mexico State, at Florida, and the host Vanderbilt. You hear 9 wins there?
I mean, maybe, but I think, I would say I would lean more toward 8 and not being in the playoff. But, a lot may come down to Tuscaloosa because I think if they're a good football team, they'll only have 1 loss coming into that game.
And then the other 2 at 8.5 is Ole Miss and LSU. And I don't know what to think about either of those 2 teams.
I like LSU on paper better, but, I mean, I will say this. And I know it's not a memory you want to think about, but it was the Ole Miss day a couple of days ago, and I did watch a lot of that Georgia Ole Miss game.
I didn't.
Because I'll be honest, I think I was traveling.
Because that was their whole year with the Georgia game.
I think I was traveling that day, and I think that I missed a lot of that game. I just saw parts of it, so I wanted to watch it kind of. And okay, let's see. The one thing that kind of surprised me was, if you remember, Dart got hurt the first drive.
That's
and
right.
They put Simmons in.
That's right.
And I'm thinking that should have been a disaster. And the lefty looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, he drove him down and scored.
Everybody's got a lot on that
I'm thinking
drive.
is like, look, I know some of those weapons are gone, but some of those weapons were still hurt anyway that would have been gone anyway. So some of the guys that he worked with are going to be back. And so he looked pretty impressive. So, who knows? Now, Lane developing a quarterback, I don't believe in, but Lane building an offense, I do believe in. But they got a lot of talent. Like Trey Harris he didn't even play in that game, but Trey Harris had a great year. Top Bubba Wells gone. We'll see. Our Juice Wells, I don't know. I guess the biggest question is what the people surrounding the quarterback. How good are they going to be? And quite frankly, too, if there was a disappointing aspect of that Ole Miss team last year and the year before, their offensive lines never were as good as people thought they were going to be. And I think their defense was, and I don't know how good their defense will be either, because their defense was stacked last year. And they do have Suntarine Perkins back, and he's a heck of a pass rusher, but they don't, they lost a lot of pieces to the NFL, especially up front. So how good are they going to be?
So if I put a start bench cut on the top 3 for Bama, Georgia, Texas, all at 9.5, and then the next 3 of LSU, Ole Miss, and Tennessee at 8.5, I think I would, me personally, chime in, I would start Texas. I would bench Alabama and cut Georgia. Though that would be my start bench cut right there for the top 3. The next 3, I would start LSU.
I would go LSU. I would go
Ole Miss, and then cut Tennessee.
That's the order I would put them in. I know you're doing start bench cut. I'm just putting them in order. I already said I would go. I would go Texas, Alabama, Georgia. Then I would go LSU, and I'd already kind of mentioned them in the top 4. And then those other 2, I would go Ole Miss over Tennessee.
So your middle tier, this is 8 to 7.5. I'm just going to lump these all together. It's a total of 4 teams: Auburn and Texas A&M at 8.
Yeah.
And then Florida and South Carolina at 7.5. I mean, that's a messy middle right there to me.
It is, and I'm anxious to see because I just don't think South Carolina is going to sneak up on anybody anymore.
They're not.
Nobody, and they lost a ton on defense. Like their defense was legit. I mean, I saw that game in Tuscaloosa, and I was a little surprised. I did not expect their defensive line to be as good as it was, and it was outstanding. Had some really good pieces in the secondary. A lot of those guys have moved on. So and then Florida. To me, they're an enigma too. But if DJ Lagway is healthy, and there's even question about that right now with his rotator cuff and his shoulder, I don't know. Can they run it well enough with Ball? And then one thing with Billy's first couple teams at Florida, they weren't really good up front on the offensive line. And I guess now we're 3 years in, but I'm just saying all 3 years, though, they were inconsistent on the offensive line. They were a little better last year. But are they going to – I've seen some people list their offensive line top 3 in the conference. If that's the case, then Florida may make a big jump.
Do you like any of those 4 teams to overperform, be it Auburn, A&M, Texas A&M, that is, of course, Florida or South Carolina?
I like Auburn to win 8. I think they're going to be good.
So to hit that number of 8.
Yeah, I really think they're going to be better to me. I just really do. I think – I'm of the opinion there's a lot of people burying Auburn right now, but if Jackson Arnold is legit,
teeing up Auburn, if you will.
Yeah, I'm not seeing how to make the playoff or win the SEC, but I think they can go 8-4. I thought they'd do that last year. They screwed it up, but I think they can go 8-4.
A lot of injuries last year, including at kicker.
I think that they've got there some of the injuries behind them. I love Keldrick Falk. I think that was a mistake by Alabama and a boon for Auburn. They flipped him from FSU. He should be one of the best defensive linemen in the SEC.
He should be a top 5 pick next year.
I think they've got some nice pieces at linebacker and in the secondary. And then on the other side of the ball, it just comes down to, can Jackson Arnold be that dude? He was a 5-star player. You've invested, and everybody invests now, so much money in that wide receiver core. You've got to, and then I love the Singleton kid from Georgia Tech. He's really good.
Yep.
So if he has a big time impact, and then Cam Coleman comes into his own, then Auburn's going to have some weapons, man. And so I think of those 4 teams, the biggest upside is Auburn, but they need it because that's why the recruiting's not going well right now, because they got to win games.
We've got plenty to get into, including. I love that. By the way, I was listening to Feinbaum earlier, and I don't know who was replacing him of listing the top rivalries. Starts with Ohio State and Michigan. Anyway, I know it's a story on The Athletic, but can we get an SEC guy to fill in for the SEC network?
It's probably Nicole Auerbach, because since how much she loves the SEC.
It was not Nicole. I do know that. But the title of the SEC report from, well, you know what? I'll get into it on the other side of our first time out. We're live here from Jefferson's, just getting off out of the docks, if you will, here on a Monday, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All good things must come to an end. That holds true for employee pricing, too. Hey, folks, it's Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. The last day for employee pricing is going to be July 7th. Up until then, you can buy the new Ford you want and pay what we pay. We've got nearly 150 F-150s to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Had your eye on a Bronco Sport? It's employee priced, and we've got over 60 to choose from. Full-size Bronco, we've got over 40. New shipments of Explorer, Expedition, and Escape have just hit the ground, too. Again, all things must come to an end, and the last day for employee pricing is July 7th. Time to hit it and get it. Employee pricing can save you up to thousands off MSRP. With over 600 Fords to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find exactly what you need. Woody Anderson Ford. It's important to see us before July 7th.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
There's a lot of talk these days about who's the biggest. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. Bigger doesn't equal better.
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. We know we're not the biggest. We don't want to be.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're big enough to handle your case and get you the help you need,
but small enough to welcome you. Where you're never just a number, you're part of our family.
It's a Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18 cubic foot refrigerator for just $3.49 while supplies last. Go to OwenAppliance.com to learn more. That's OwenAppliance.com.
John Abraham here for the parts department at Bobcat of Huntsville. Not only do these guys carry genuine OEM Bobcat parts, they also have a full line of Marshalltown concrete supplies. On top of that, they have a wide selection of arborist tools and supplies on hand for you tree guys. Bobcat of Huntsville also has a full service department, and don't forget the sales and rental guys too. Come on down and visit the all-new Bobcat of Huntsville location in Madison on Highway 20 next to the Redstone Harley-Davidson.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings in Hampton Cove and our latest location, now open in New Market on Winchester Road.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Bust it.
Back here live at Jefferson's, along with Drudy Armand, Steve Moulton back here with you. Is that better? Am I in screen now for you?
Checking in permission control. That looks a lot better.
Is that what now?
Checking in permission control. That looks a lot better.
Okay. All right. Perfect. You can watch on WZZN TV, and it's actually on us rather than a normal drive when it's on everybody but us. So you can see that the fried pickles are history.
Yeah, our fried pickles are gone. They were amazing. See, there you go.
Yep. So come on by here to Jefferson's, and a little bit later on this week, you can get $50 of Jefferson's for only $25.
Hey, but if you come by Jefferson right now and give them $1 to put on the wall, you get a $1 appetizer.
There you go. And you can paint the dollar however you'd like to paint the dollar.
There you go.
So you can do that as well out here at Jefferson's. So
Fred ain't got no dollars. He's got 10s and 5s.
Yeah, of course he does. Rolling large, as always. 256-576-4977, the telephone number. So, by the way, just to finish out the rivalry conversation that they were having earlier today, if you just want to end all rivalry conversations of who's got the best and just make that pot stir the way that I think, and I think the correct answer right out of the gate is a game that's always been on my bucket list, and that's Army-Navy. Army-Navy, to me, listen, I know how valuable the Iron Bowl is in this state, but Army-Navy, to me, if you want to end a debate in terms of rivalries, Army-Navy. But anyway, the SEC Media Days comes up on Monday, and so our relationship with the worldwide leader, puts it this way. 2025 SEC Football Media Days. Will the SEC snap its title drought?
Yeah, it's a whole 2 years. What a drought. A drought is when, if you're the Suckeyes, you've won it twice since 1968. That's not exactly all the time, okay? It's not bad at all, but it's not all the time. Same way with Michigan. They won it in 97 and then this year. Before that, it was in the 60s.
The conference is looking to win its first national championship since 2022, when Georgia won its second straight title. The SEC hasn't gone 3 straight seasons without winning a title, or at least a share of a national title, since 99 through 02.
Well, all I'd say this is, who won the Big Ten national championship the last time it wasn't Michigan or Ohio State?
I mean, pre-expand.
Did they even have bars on the helmets? I guess maybe Michigan State in the 60s.
I'd have to look it up right off the top of my head, but I don't know. But SEC, at least the All-State Playoff Predictor,
right?
Everything's sponsored now. At least according to the All-State Playoff Predictor, Texas has the best chance at winning a national championship at 24%, followed by Georgia at 18%. Then Ohio State and Alabama have the same odds at 11%, followed by Penn State at 7%, Oregon at 4%, Clemson at 3%.
But that doesn't count because Penn State wasn't in the Big Ten in 86.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
91.
Yeah. Notre Dame,
really?
your 3%ers are Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, and then 2% for Texas A&M. A little love for gig them.
Well, need 4 more years, Steve. 4. That's all I need. 4 more years, and it'll be 40 for Notre Dame. That's a drought.
But that also led Joel Klatt
Here we go.
to say this. Is he right?
Clemson is really good.
Okay, so this is a preview for the Clemson LSU game.
Right.
Also got experience at the quarterback position with the guy that I had as my number 1 quarterback going into the season, Cade Klubnik. I think that you look at this matchup, you've got a really good defense for Clemson. You've got a quality offense for LSU. You're going to have the home game effect for Clemson. And then you get into the conference kind of aspect of this matchup, which I love. Maybe not, I'll just say less so for Texas and Ohio State because we just know those conferences are going to be great. We know those teams are going to be great. But in this respect, when you get this SEC ACC battle early in the year, in particular with a team that I think we all, including myself, expect Clemson to win the ACC. If LSU beats Clemson in Clemson week 1 and Clemson goes on to win the ACC, let's say even in a dominant fashion, well, now the SEC is going to be sitting there like, hey, that conference should only get 1 participant, obviously. And we should get all the rest of them. That's why these non-conference games become so important, is because of the lobbying that'll inevitably take place as we finish up the season. I got to be honest too. And listen, I understand that I have a certain reputation, but I think that this reputation is just based on facts. Right now, the SEC desperately needs a giant non-conference win.
Desperately needs a non-conference win.
Well, over what they consider an elite opponent. They thought Wisconsin was going to be a good opponent, and Alabama eviscerated them last year. And then later in the year, Wisconsin nearly
in Madison.
And then later in the year on that same field, Wisconsin really beat Ohio State. So, but it would help the SEC, no question, and Matt Moscona's sanity, and T-Bob, if they could win an opener.
Sadly, that's not going to happen.
Well, I know they won't be together, but
sadly,
I'm going to ask Matt that question next week. Do you think maybe the voodoo's gone now that T-Bob left? Seriously, are you going to cope on that? Because again, you guys are just absolutely crestfallen about these season openers and the lack of
hasn't
performance.
won a season opener since 2019.
Yeah, and so was it T-Bob's negative energy? Do you think that's going to help? And
how dare you? How dare you say that this was negative energy?
I'm so fucking sick of this shit, dude. All Louisiana, everybody just wants us to keep accepting being shitty, you know? Why the are you mad? Why are you mad you're last? Why are you mad?
Really?
Be happy. You have this, you have that. What do we got? We have sports. Okay, we have sports. That's all we got
tonight.
Okay? So we're on.
And we get to watch the Saints.
We're on. Look, I got the Saints who couldn't find their way out of a street corner if they had a gun. GPS. I got the LSU Tigers who just got their rammed in by their arch rivals like they were in a wheelchair. I got the Pelicans who don't know how to keep anybody healthy for 5 games.
Wow.
If it could save their life, what the is going on?
I mean, come on. It doesn't get more positive than that right there. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that a lot.
I think everybody will. No question about it. So.
You went there, so, you know.
Yeah.
I am proud to report that the Sausage King of Chicago is found himself a homestead up there and proceeds to tell me that he still hasn't bought a winter jacket yet.
Oh, wow.
And I told him, you might want to do that.
Yeah.
You might want to just.
Yeah.
I know it's July.
Trust me, but, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't get that cold in Louisiana, so you better.
I might want to do that.
You better prepare yourself.
That wind coming off the lake in October.
He's about to learn a lot about lake effect snow.
Yes, he is. And evidently, he is close to the lake.
So he's moved the fam close to the lake, huh?
High dollar.
Can't hide money.
No. You can't.
256-576-4977.
And I'm going to miss it. I mean, it's, win or lose, especially lose. It's must listen with T-Bob because usually he's already been in the sauce one way or the other. And so.
Well, even at the end of this rant, I believe it was Moscona saying, how much alcohol did he have?
Okay, my bad. I'll come down.
No, I don't want you. You're good. You're good.
Oh, I queued it up to the wrong place.
Alcohol
I'm
into
just
your
so
system.
sick.
That's why I gave you you did chug 2 doubles mezcals. Like that was an awful lot of.
Oh, you know what a mezcal is?
I don't want to know. Okay.
You chugged 2 of them.
Chugged.
And that is the only way to put it.
I mean, some people think I'm crazy, and I don't drink much.
I've got one, queued up for a certain Christmas.
Yeah,
that little debate back in the day between Jalen Hurts and Tua.
Yeah. No alky involved there, just sanity. And I know one won a Super Bowl. Blah blah blah. What doesn't mean that we all know who the better college player was. And heck, Tua still made the top 100 the other day. I'm sure Jalen's way on up there.
He did.
Probably in the top 20.
Yeah.
But,
if he could just have the ultimate part of his game, and that's availability.
Yeah.
Just
gotta
keep
be available,
yourself
bro.
Available.
You got to be available.
What makes you so confident about Ty Simpson?
Well, I just think the decision that he made to stay at Alabama and to trust the coaching staff, I think that he made a really good decision. No question about that. I think trusting what they're building, trusting the system, knowing what Penix did, knowing what he helped recruit out of the portal, knowing what they had in the recruiting class coming into the Latsier Brookses and the things of that nature they're going to surround him with. The offensive line being healthier, Jaden Roberts, Caden Proctor, the pieces they brought in like Cam Dewberry. I just think, and then the improvement of Wilkin Formby. I just think all around, I think he believes in the vision of what they're doing because he could have left 2 years ago, but he did not. So I just think overall, Ty believes in what they're doing. He thinks that their system, that they can develop QBs and that he thinks he can really play there. And again, it works both ways because, look, the coaching staff, they didn't recruit him. They recruited Austin Mack. They brought Austin Mack with them. They recruited Keelan Russell. But obviously they believe and they've seen enough good out of Ty Simpson to want him to stay, and I think that's why he's going to be a good fit.
So it is a big day specifically for our 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. guys, as both Madden and EA Sports Football 26 dropped today at 11 o'clock. So I'm sure there's a lot of people playing, but the ratings are out as well. I don't know how big of a gamer you are. I have left my gaming days
in the rear days a long time ago.
Me too. I mean,
now we know Joe and John. That should be a question for those guys.
So I am interested to get your opinion on at least who EA Sports is ranking. They listed the top 100 players in all of college football. Now, I know Madden readjusts the ratings throughout the year. And that's not the case here for EA Sports. This is their one and only rankings. So I wanted to go through it a little bit. And it does have an Alabama feel in it as well, but I'd like to get your opinion on it as well. Let's go ahead and take our final time out here in hour number 1. And yes, there will be an hour number 2 live here from Jefferson's. Come on by. We're here in Newmarket, technically Huntsville, but it doesn't feel like Huntsville.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com. The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey there, everybody. Bob Baumhauer here, letting you know that we understand that times are tough and we truly believe value matters. So, by popular demand, we brought back our Inflation Bites menu featuring scratch-made meals that will make the whole family smile, and your wallet, too. Menu items start at just $7.99, and any entree comes with a free beverage. Try our classic tailgate burger for just $8.99, or our hearty Bam Bam chicken platter for $9.99. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our Workhorse Special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor. We're here for you.
There is power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen. A clear sky and a quiet night expected for the Tennessee Valley for this Monday night. Low temperatures going to be falling into the low 70s. Heading into our Tuesday, a little bit of rain and potentially a few thunderstorms in the forecast for the afternoon. High temperatures once again reach the low 90s.
Your Fox 54 weather only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Blitz with Joe Hunk and John Abraham. Weekday morning starting at 9 a.m. on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All good. That was a pause there because we needed to regroup.
In terms of pregnant pauses, that one had twins.
Well, all good. All good. Back here live at Jefferson's. So I've never had the oysters here. Brian, do you recommend the oysters?
You know,
what haven't
in
you
all
had?
my years, I haven't had the oysters.
Really?
Just because, if I can't see the water, I don't eat oysters. That's a rule. I mean, if I can't see the water they came out of, I don't eat the oysters. And that's just a rule I have. It's done me a good saying.
Well, Brian, if I could teleport them, I'd teleport you some chips and salsa here.
It's always a good choice. Always a good choice.
All right, we get rid of the menu.
Get the Uncle Jesse's wings.
Uncle Jesse's.
No, it's good sauce. It's kind of a smoky barbecue sauce.
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
Yep.
Very good.
Right in my wheelhouse.
There you go.
So heading into the break, mentioned about both Drew and I video game playing days clearly in the rear view
The
mirror.
last college football I played extensively, Steve, that I mastered. This will show you how long it's been for me.
Yeah, Tebow. Was Tebow involved?
Bill Walsh, college football.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So
that's
I would
90s,
play it
man.
on the PC back in the day.
Right.
It was an EA sports game, but honestly, I don't even remember what it was called.
Right.
So anyway, I would also play Earl Weaver baseball back in the day. But again, I'm dating myself more than anything.
I would play you never think about keeping any of this crap.
No,
But
I had the original Madden box when we were cleaning out the homestead.
I think I had the original World Series baseball.
Yeah, I found, but it was obviously very used.
Right.
And so I texted it to a couple of buddies of mine saying, is this worth anything? No, you guys used it too much. Well, guess what? We were playing.
Yeah,
we were
right.
playing Madden back in the day.
Right.
On the PC. But EA Sports, here is their top 100 list of college football players. The EA Sports college football game dropped earlier today. So I'm sure there's a lot of people playing video games. Forgive me with my Hank Hill reference. The number 1 college football player is Jeremiah Smith from The Ohio State. Number 2 is Caleb Downs from The Ohio State at 96. That's his overall ranking. The first non-Ohio State player is Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker from Texas, ranked at 95th. Your first Alabama player comes in 5th. Who would you think the top-ranked player at Alabama would be? Trudy Armand?
That's a good question. Coming back,
yeah,
I'd say Caden Proctor.
It is actually Mr. 18, not 17 or 16.
Our boy Bray, Mother Hubbard.
Ryan Williams with a 90.
I thought you were saying number 18.
Oh, no. No, actually, that's not a bad idea, actually. Ryan Williams it's a 95, and he'll be 18.
He'll be 18.
Were you talking about his age, or are you talking about his ranking?
That'll be his age.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big topic.
Oh yeah. So what's his ranking though overall?
He is fifth overall.
Okay.
Has the same ranking as does T.J. Parker, edge player for Clemson. A 94 ranking for Dylan Smith. He is an edge player at South Carolina and looked really good last year.
T.J. Parker's hard to take. He's from Phoenix City. He's about. Oh, where's Peter Woods at? Just find out. I want to see this.
Okay. Caden Proctor comes in at 94 overall.
Oh, really? He's that low? I guess coming off an injury.
No, 94 is his ranking. Oh, that's 10th overall.
So you're confusing me. You're confusing me here.
Well, I know. I'm going
Number
through
10 overall, but Brian
10th overall, but a 94 overall ranking by the EA boys and girls.
I would have been, my top two would have been Caden and Ryan Williams.
So Peter Woods has a 94 ranking from LSU.
From LSU?
I'm sorry, Clemson.
Okay.
Clemson. I was looking for LSU.
Right.
Keldrick Falk has a 93 overall ranking. That's 23rd. There is a large group that have a 93 overall ranking.
I blame all that on Freddie Roach.
I bet you do, among other things.
Congratulations on Nolan Wilson, though. I will give him credit for that. Good job for getting a future hopeful stud that will sign with Alabama. But my goodness, you just mentioned three guys, all from Alabama's backyard.
Centurion Perkins has a 93 overall rating. He's an edge player for Ole Miss.
Yeah, he is.
I am looking. Eric Singleton, the Auburn wide receiver, has a 92 overall ranking.
If they get good quarterback play, that dude can be dangerous.
Garrett Nussmeier has a 92 overall ranking and is 45th overall. There's a large number of players that have a 92.
A lot of Jekyll and Hyde last year out of Garrett
thank
Nussmeier,
you.
though.
If he can throw it to his team a little bit more this year, I would buy that 90.
Or if their officials weren't completely incompetent boobs and they had lost to South Carolina, who made the playoff, then who knows? Maybe they would have encouraged Nussmeier to go to the NFL. Who knows?
Carson Beck, Lamborghini, is 91 in the overall rankings.
Well, his girlfriend doesn't think he's a 91. She kicked him to the curb.
Harold Perkins, a 91 overall ranking.
But what Harold Perkins are we going to see? Like the last 2 years have not been close to what we saw as a freshman, Steve, when he looked like the most disruptive player in all college. So that's another great question from Matt Moscona. What Harold Perkins are we going to see?
John Mateer, the Oklahoma quarterback, comes in with a 91 overall ranking.
State, yep, and his OC's with him.
Lenora Sellers, a 91 overall ranking, 88th is his. This is listing the top 100 players.
Right.
And let's see here. Parker Brailsford.
There we go.
A 91 overall ranking.
How overall? What's he ranked?
Well, 93rd on the list, but 91 is his EA Sports ranking.
Wow, so you're still in the 90s when you're in the 90s, is what you're telling me.
But the last player that's listed is Xavion Alford, a safety for Arizona State at 91. So they don't go past 100. That's your top 100. And just going through here, I listed quite a few Alabama and Auburn players.
So no Bray Mother Hubbard. I think Bray could break into it.
Bray Hubbard, I see him. He's at 91.
There we go.
91 overall rate. And if he wasn't on this list, that would have been a problem. I don't know about Nussmeier. I really don't know about Nussmeier. I do know that we've got one more hour to go for you.
Yes, I hope Nussmeier can beat Clemson.
That'd be nice. Just to hear Klatt right afterwards.
All good things must come to an end.
That holds true for employee pricing, too. Hey, folks, it's Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. The last day for employee pricing is going to be July 7th. Up until then, you can buy the new Ford you want and pay what we pay. We've got nearly 150 F-150s to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Had your eye on a Bronco Sport? It's employee priced, and we've got over 60 to choose from. Full-size Bronco, we've got over 40. New shipments of Explorer, Expedition, and Escape have just hit the ground, too. Again, all things must come to an end, and the last day for employee pricing is July 7th. Time to hit it and get it. Employee pricing can save you up to thousands off MSRP with over 600 Fords to choose from. There's a good chance you'll find exactly what you need. Woody Anderson Ford. It's important to see us before July 7th.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm Ed Menken. The NBA's offseason continues to be a busy one. The agent for Orlando's Paolo Banchero told ESPN Shams Charania his client has agreed to a 5-year, $239 million maximum rookie contract extension, which could reach $287 million. The deal includes an option for Banchero in the 2030-2031 season. The deal involving the Celtics and Blazers is official, with Anthony Simons going to Boston and Drew Holiday headed to Portland. But a report in the Oregonian confirmed by ESPN says the two future second-round picks originally announced are not part of the deal. The Pacers will not have their star player for the upcoming season. The team announced Tyrese Halliburton will be sidelined after tearing his Achilles in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Despite the setback, Pacers president Kevin Pritchard is optimistic about his star's recovery.
I have no doubt that he will be back better than ever. The surgery went well. It was a little higher. It gets a little bit more blood to that. He will not play next year, though. We would not jeopardize that now. So he don't get any hopes up that he will play.
Also today, the Clippers, Jazz, and Heat agreed to a three-way trade. Norman Powell goes to Miami. John Collins heads to Los Angeles. And Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson, and the Clippers' 2027 second-round pick go to Utah. We are a week away from baseball's home run derby. Minnesota's Byron Buxton has announced he will participate in the derby. He is a Georgia native and will get a chance to hit in Atlanta. Tonight in baseball, the Tigers are going for their 8th win in 11 games. They are scoreless in the second against the Rays. The hottest team in baseball, the Blue Jays, are going for win number 9 in a row. They will take on the White Sox in Chicago later tonight.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. Ryan Schottenheimer is bringing in Cowboys legends to inspire the team, but will any of it translate to success on the field? It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll, and I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here at Jefferson's, along with Drudy Armand filling in for Wes Neighbors here this evening. Steve Moulton back here with you. And honestly, Drew, I didn't start with the most obvious point, and that is another portal window is open.
Oh, yeah.
As of today.
I'm talking about for the ones that were cut. Let's just call it what it is, man. You know, I'm not going to sit here and BS. It's for the people that are trying to find a place to land with some of these programs that did cut scholarships.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're giving them
not everybody opted in.
Right. And they're giving these athletes a chance to land on their feet, which I think is good. You know? I'll tell you another thing that's good. It's good to be Rob Vaughn at the University of Alabama. Five-year deal now, an extension.
Yeah.
And he's now making $1,275,000. Highest paid Alabama baseball coach ever. First one to ever make $1 million. He was making $900,000.
Yeah.
And remember, A&M was, sniffing around. And so decided to bring their coach back and give him another year. And so Rob Vaughn stays at Alabama because a lot of people thought Rob Vaughn would be heavily in the mix again at A&M, but he stayed, and Greg Byrne taking care of him.
And there is obviously some there was some basketball news that I read last week as well for Alabama. Have you kept your ear to the ground there in Tuscaloosa?
Are you talking about for the Players Era? They will be playing UNLV at 11 a.m. In game 2.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking about. But honestly, it is pretty impressive of what Nate Oates has built there in Tuscaloosa, honestly.
Well, I mean, it is impressive. I mean, they're he's talked about that they were going to try to, or he actually kind of mused. He's like, should we, if it's not going to help us as much, should we, maybe look at not playing the absolute toughest schedule in America? But I think he was just doing it tongue in cheek.
Oh yeah.
And so, without a question, the Alabama's out of conference schedule. They haven't released the entire schedule.
Yeah.
But certainly, when you look at Alabama and their out of conference schedule, it's as tough as any in America in college basketball. And I mean,
maybe that's what I was reading about.
Their second game of the year is at St. John's in the Garden. And then their third game is a home game against what could be the number 1 team in America in Purdue. And then on November 19th, they go to Chicago to play Illinois. And then you were talking about that Players Era over there in Oregon. Well, their first game is against the Zags of Gonzaga.
Of course, we know they're playing Kennesaw State here in Huntsville.
Yeah, they are. And then they're going to play UNLV. And then there's a game on the 27th in Las Vegas that'll be an opponent to be determined.
So, by the way, just for reference sake, that Kennesaw State game is a regular season game.
It is not.
So
not a scrimmage.
there will not be unlimited fouls in that game.
Even Petway wouldn't play that way. Good Lord. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, Memphis, that game against Memphis, it feels like parts of that game is still going on.
Oh, I know. But December the 21st, will be Kennesaw State in the Probst Arena. And then a week before that, the CM Newton Classic is, of course, going to be Alabama and Arizona.
That's what I read, the Arizona game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Austin Klein on December 7th will bring his Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio to Tuscaloosa. And, of course, Alabama will play Clemson yet again in the SEC ACC Challenge.
Yep.
So
it wasn't much of a challenge last year, but on that subject, I will tell you, I don't watch a ton of the ACC network, but there was a fantastic sit down with Wes Durham. I feel like he's kind of one of the premier voices there on the ACC network. He's also the voice of the Atlanta Falcons, of which we are an affiliate. Well, he sat down with Pat Kelsey, who is the head coach at Louisville. It's Louisville. I don't know if you heard this, but this is fantastic.
I would probably say there's a couple of them. Hoosiers.
Sure.
This is how many times I've watched Hoosiers. Jimmy Chitwood was 44 for 49 in the whole movie, including when he shot in the backyard. I charted his shots, and that'll tell you the amount of dates.
You charted Jimmy Chitwood's shots?
That'll tell you the amount of dates I had in high school. I love Miracle. I love A Few Good Men. I think Jack Nicholson's performance in that was one of the greatest in cinematic history.
Wait, I'm still the whole Jimmy Chitwood. I track shots. Hang on.
My buddy, he was a player on our state championship team in high school named Kevin Whitmer. Actually, he actually told me that the first time, and when we were on our state championship run, we're doing Glory Days now by Bruce Springsteen. I can't believe I'm telling this story. But throughout the state tournament, we would go over to my house after practice every day, and we would watch Hoosiers from the town meeting on, because the whole beginning of it, the love story, we weren't interested. We went to see the state.
Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, no care whatsoever.
But he told me that, and then I went back and watched it on my own and charted it. Literally, it was 44 for 49. Hold on.
Pat Kelsey. That's why we're here.
I loved it. I really did. It makes me want to go back and shot chart Jimmy Chitwood myself.
Well, I mean,
I've seen the movie enough. You have too, I bet.
Oh, no question. I mean,
44 for 49 in the movie.
There's only a few movies and really for me, it's especially true where a scene gives you you tingle every time it happens. And then, or even if you think about it, when when you think about the late great Gene Hackman, because now he's passed on. Norman Dale trying to set up basically Jimmy as a decoy for the last play of the game,
and then people
and they're all looking at him, and then he's like, "What is it?
Yeah.
What?" And then
setting up the same play as shooter.
Jimmy just looks at him and says, "I'll make it."
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, that gives you tingles.
And even
every
that,
time.
so even the way it was shot, I watched. I think it was on Paramount Plus. They did a behind the scenes. Evidently, throughout the whole movie, Gene Hackman said, "This is going to be awful."
Oh, he did.
This is going to be.
He hated doing the movie. He thought it was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
He didn't like the direction of it. He didn't like the way it was directed. He didn't like a lot of how it was written for him. He didn't like it at all. And it ended up being the greatest sports movie, in my opinion, of all time. Because if you love high school basketball, I mean, come on.
I've got a hankering now to shot chart Jimmy Chip.
There's other good basketball movies, but Hoosier sets itself apart because of just how real it is. And, and again, and it is based off a true story. Now, some of it is changed around
for Hollywood.
Still, but
44 for 49 is pretty good.
I mean, I'm sorry, but a great question would be to ask Larry Bird, could you beat Jimmy Chitwood in horse?
Well, I think we know what Larry Legend's going to say.
Of course. And he would be like, 100 out of 100.
I mean,
or Larry would say, I would have made 49 of 49. There would have been no other takes.
There was this was mid 90s in Atlanta. I was setting something up. There was a expansion hockey team about to start in Atlanta called the Thrashers.
The Thrashers,
And so there was an event around it. And one of them was to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club. And it was a free throw shooting contest.
Uh-oh.
Well, Steve Smith, a then Atlanta Hawk, was a part of it.
Great player.
Yes, from Michigan State, came out and missed his first 4 free throws.
What?
Yeah. But then, he missed his first 4 free throws and then made one and then said, we thought we were starting to count. And he looked at us and said, okay, I'm warmed up now. I'm ready to go. So evidently, had he made those 4, I'm sure he would have been good and warm and ready to go. But we didn't count the first 4 shots for Smitty back in the day.
Well,
but I've yet to be around any shooter, even at UAH, that tells me it didn't feel good when it leaves the hand. You tell me. I mean, you've been around enough.
Oh, yeah.
Every shooter is going to say it felt really good coming off the hand.
Yeah.
Of course it does. You're a shooter.
Yeah.
But I loved that. That is Pat Kelsey, the head coach at Louisville.
Hey, remember, Steve, we were going to have this transfer task force in the AHSAA? Well,
oh boy,
we got our first case. Yeah.
Oh boy, what are you doing?
Good friend Thomas Ashworth.
Wow.
Breaking news right here on the drive.
I wanted to read this before I just.
Yeah. I was letting Steve soak it all in there.
4-star defensive tackle. Yeah. Viamalia Mola?
Well, we'll figure it out later.
Is transferring from Willamette High School
in
Oregon to Thompson High School. He was committed to Oregon, but also announced that he decommitted from the Ducks. Also holds offers that include Tennessee, Arkansas, North Carolina, and USC.
Well,
so he'll be a Thompson Warrior.
And that could be another one for Freddie Roach. Hello, Freddie. Hello. What's his name?
Right. So for those of you watching on WZZN TV, that is Freddie down there at the end.
Freddie Kirby of Pigskin Preps back in the day. And now Southeastern Athletics. He's finishing off his I think he got wing sauce on his phone.
That's special. That's
but it was awfully good because he has nothing but bones left. But yeah, that's a little bit eye-opening there. From
here we go,
Oregon to Alabaster.
And this feels like this is only going to get deeper as we go further.
And they've made a big deal out of this transfer committee, and looking into all these transfers. Now, you can't stop a kid from moving to Oregon and moving his family to Thompson. That's happened before. Look,
Hawaii, yeah, Hawaii.
I mean, hey, but and I believe Trent Seaborn, their starting quarterback, who will be a junior, he was in Colorado before he enrolled in middle school at Thompson. So
grew up wanting to be a Thompson Warrior.
He wanted to be a Tungavailoa. I know that. No question.
Here we go. AHSAA, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what
the ball's in their court, man, because they're going to be people raising some cane because they're bringing in some studs. They've always got them,
don't they?
Now, they didn't get Jamarian Matthews. That was the first thought, that he might end up at Thompson. He ended up at Gainesville, Georgia.
Red Elephant.
And he's going to be a Red Elephant in college if things stay the same.
Yep.
And so is his new teammate, I should say, Xavier Griffin. So they're going to be on the same defense over there for Josh Niblett, who recently, over the 4th of July weekend, returned to the Big Oak Ranch to help out one of his former pupils.
Nice. I like hearing that.
Yep.
That's always nice. Wow. So that's a little bit of the ball dropping, if you will, in the middle of the segment right there of some high school news. But it doesn't feel like this is going to be an isolated issue.
Well, no, forward. I mean, there'll be a lot of kids, a lot of teams getting transfers. I mean, Parker's gotten several over the last few years, including one that's committed to Texas right now, Bodney Cleveland. I believe a couple of years ago he was at Prattville.
Do they still play at Legion Field?
I think so. I think they do for the most part.
Wow.
And they are the defending 6A state champions. They won the state championship last year. So
that was hard to wrap my head around as well, because it felt like they were bottom feeders for a while.
They were. I mean, David Palmer's son played there once. One of his two sons. One played at Chelsea, and I think the other played at Parker. So. And David at one time coached there before going to Hoover.
Well, we are 2 weeks away from High School Football Media Day here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and I've yet to dive deep into what we have coming back here locally, although I will tell you, I know there is a lot coming back at Madison Academy.
Yeah, they
although losing AJ
Rice
is big.
A heck of a player going to Mississippi State, and God, they need him.
They're going to need him down there at Mississippi State.
Especially with who they retained at defensive coordinator.
Okay, on the subject of high school football, though, are there any other teams around here that is clipping your radar at all, or is it going to be another long season?
I got off the phone today with it. I think Muscle Shoals is going to be really good.
Do you?
Because they dominated Austin in their spring game. And Austin's usually pretty good. They're very consistent. I think, no question. I do think Juan Johnson, the new coach at James Clemens, I wouldn't be surprised if they're good because they've had talent for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a transition there, but he did a really good job in his 1 year at Baker. I'd always expect, James Clemens to be good until proven otherwise. I think Florence should have some talent. I think under Kenny Morrison, as he continues to hopefully change the culture there, that they'll be better.
Buckhorn's got a new coach.
Yep.
Most of Huntsville City's got new coaches.
Lee, Antonio Ford,
Grissom.
Grissom is, of course, they ended up bringing in a new coach as well, and he was actually on Chip English's staff several years ago. And he knows, I think, and he was actually, Preston Judah.
Thank you.
He was also on Irving McGuire's staff at Lee last year. So Preston Judah is now at Grissom. And then a very familiar name that from Auburn. Yep. Sammy Coates is taking over at Columbia. So this will be Jimmy Gay's second year at Huntsville, as he is coming off. He had a 5-5 first year, and they showed some improvement. So we'll see if they're better.
And once we're done with Rocket City Trash Pandas, those games will be heard on Talk Radio WZZN, but we'll once again have the high school streaming network front and center for you this fall.
And I think Mars Hill will be good.
Well, they were pretty darn good.
They've always been good. You know,
I saw them up close and personal, and man, they were good last year.
And they're going to be really good. And then I think
Gunnersville went on a run. Did they not?
Gunnersville will be solid. Very, very good. There's no question. They got a new OC we're very familiar with, Matt Patterson.
Yes. A lot of experience there.
Yeah, no question. And so I think they're going to be good and one of the better teams in North Alabama. And I think Hartselle will still be very, very good. So and they're very solid. It matters to them. They want to be good every year.
But that top level is still a gap.
Well, and then I'm interested to see Athens. You know, with Cody Gross, they've made a lot of improvements in facilities and have really good numbers. We'll see how good Athens is because I still think Athens is definitely considered a football school.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I did try to reach out to Coach Rivers, the younger Coach Rivers, because when I say Coach Rivers,
Phillip Rivers,
I think about his dad.
Yeah, Steve.
But I did reach out to Phillip Rivers to try to get him on, but he was a bit tied up for today because I wanted to talk to him about several things, including his bunch down there on the bay.
And he's got a bunch of kids getting offers, so they've improved dramatically.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. And I believe they made the quarterfinals last year. So St. Michael's in 5A.
That's right.
They're getting ready to be a factor and getting ready to make runs at state titles. And, of course, his son Gunner will be a junior this fall.
Number 17.
Mm-hmm. And throws just like his dad mechanically. And he's starting to garner a lot of offers. And I think Auburn has already offered him. So it's a lot more different than when Senator Tuberville was there.
Beautiful Fairhope, Alabama.
Might be Governor Tuberville soon.
Could very well.
Talk Radio, WCZN.
Well, on that subject, when I down at the spring meetings, when I walked up to, first thing I got out of Bruce Pearl was no politics questions. No politics question. And then lo and behold, I see him on Fox News. I think it was last week or something. So I don't think that's a done deal either, whether or not Bruce Pearl might be running for Tubbs' spot. So who knows? But yes, Talk Radio WZZN is our HD.2 channel and your home for the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And right now, is it Bill O'Reilly? I want to say it's Bill O'Reilly.
It's Bill O'Reilly. Yes, it is.
It is Bill O'Reilly on right now.
No spin over there. No spin at all.
Oh, yeah. No, that is zero spin there for Bill O'Reilly.
This is Talk Radio, WCZN.
This is as good of a time as any to take our first time out. Line's open to you at 256-576-4977. Back here live from Jefferson's.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com. By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Just ask anyone. John Abraham here for Bobcat of Huntsville. Right now till the end of June, you can get 0% financing on the world-famous line of Bobcat skid steers, excavators, mowers, and tractors. Need attachments? They got them. And did I mention 0% as in nada? No financing charge for 48 months. It's like free money. Visit the brand new Bobcat of Huntsville in their tremendous new facilities on Highway 20 in Madison, right next to Redstone Harley-Davidson.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
The Atlanta Braves.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Here it comes. Line shot, left field, around third base, Albies. Here's the throw from Lux. Not in time. Braves win as the rookie walked it off in 11 innings.
All season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
That's an old promo right there.
Yeah.
Goodness.
It sounds like, I know he's an Ole Miss guy. Sounds like when he's watching Ole Miss play against Alabama.
So the game that I covered during my break last week was the Angels.
I actually saw the Braves.
I saw the Braves win.
You saw the Braves win.
But it was the same day of the news of Schwallenbach's elbow. And walked in and I said, what's going on around here? That's the cleaned up version. And I just got this look from Ben like he had been through it. And I can't imagine. It felt like everything that went right last year has gone wrong this year. I was really surprised. Honestly, I was not expecting the Braves to do what they did last year. But it feels like 25 is what I expected to happen in 24.
It just feels like the roof is caved, and they're going to have to play out the string. I mean, that was a really sad 4th of July weekend.
They're still a good team, though. The Braves are a good team. It just feels like a puzzle that the pieces are not in the right place.
They don't have enough arms.
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, the bullpen is a train wreck still.
Yeah.
I mean, when your go-to the ace of the staff is Grant Holmes.
He's been pitching phenomenal, and they just didn't get him any runs, man. Eastbound and Down's been doing a job.
He has. The run differential. So my brother is a season ticket holder and has been for over 10 years. And so he was at the game yesterday morning.
So bad.
And he's gone. I mean, look at this. He is sending me text after text after text after text of just going through this analytically. And he's right in terms of if you take a look at the Braves run differential, it's not that far from the Padres. Yeah. It really isn't. Statistically, it matches up. Just it's not.
But here's the problem. Guys like Sean Murphy Ozzy Albies.
Ozzy in particular is having a rough. And Michael Harris.
They don't have anybody at shortstop that's been hitting the baseball. And then Michael Harris, that's just stunning. He hasn't walked in a game since May the 18th. How can that be possible?
I think that's plate discipline.
I mean, what has happened? I mean, it's just so funny how guys fall off the table, but he was.
But what he brings
ago, he was
defensively, you can't replace that.
But he looked like maybe just 2 years ago with the way he was hitting the baseball. He wasn't going to be Andrew Jones, but he looked like he might be close.
Yeah,
and
in the neighborhood.
Falling off of the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so bad. You're hitting 210 for the season. I mean, almost in the 100s. I mean, this is just bad.
Well, good news is Braves are not losing today, as it's travel day out to Sacramento
and
before they take on the Athletics.
Ozuna has been horrendous.
Yes, I think I want to say it's been over a month since his last home run.
I think they said after yesterday, 20 games now, which is a season high. He hasn't hit a bomb in 20 games. I mean,
he looks hurt to me.
I don't know what's up with him. I mean, I just know it's last year and adios. I mean, I know he had 2 really good years the last 2 years, and he's, for the most part, lived up to what they wanted out of him.
And I am by no means – I know horrible. MLB Network went through this last week of trading Acuna.
Yeah.
And I'm you know what? I'm not totally against that, but it would have to be for the right deal.
You'd have to get a landslide in return.
A massive right deal.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, though. I mean,
where did they have him going?
They did not. They just threw out the possibility of basically just blowing up the roster and just saying to be. And I don't think the Braves roster is to that point of blow up, because there is a lot of good pieces that have a lot of long-term contracts, be it at third base or center field. And
well, to me, I think
even Allen at short has played really well this year
defensively, but he hasn't hit squat.
Well,
but none of them have. But I mean, here's the thing. To me, I think they've earned enough. As far as especially with their and with what you have of them under contract, I think Ozzy Albies. And even Austin Riley to a degree, even though his has been that bad, but still, I think I'd like to believe that Michael Harris, Ozzy, and I
mean Ozuna's.
Riley.
Ozuna is a problem.
No, Ozuna's gone. They won't they're not going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about him being back on the roster.
At least you got Matt Olson, who's just steady as a rock, and there at first.
Yeah, and I think Riley will bounce back. I think you've got to give Michael Harris and Ozzy a chance to bounce back.
And I want to give Jefferson Profar.
It may probably Profar too. It was just a lost season.
Yeah, and not the way anybody wanted to start. Most notably, Jefferson Profar, who owned it. But I mean, what can you do in that press conference other than own it?
And he's hit a couple of home runs since he came back.
Yeah.
But, you've got to give him a chance to – you put him under – I think he's had 2 years left on his deal. You got to see what he can do next year, and then hopefully have Acuna for the whole year.
That'd be nice.
And so –
that's a novel thought.
But I will say the one area that I think they need to do something. They need to do something at shortstop, whether it's free agency or a trade. They've got to address short. I thought it was something that would likely bite them in the butt when they weren't able to get Dansby back. But I will say,
Dansby's having a year.
You look at he's having a good year, not a great one. You look at his numbers, and he's only had 3 years as a big leaguer where he hit 270 or higher. And one of them was his first year with the Braves where he only got 130 at-bats. He hit 302. Then he had 2 years as a Brave where he hit 274 and then 277. 277 being the last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's really a 250 hitter, but he's a great defensive shortstop. He does hit for power because I think he's got 15 homers this year for the Cubs. And the thing I did like about him, and this matters, in the postseason, most of the time, he showed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially at 21.
Just like his manager, who, that's the reason to me he played 16 years as Craig Counsell. You look at Craig Counsell,
showed up.
He was a money player, and he won 2 World Series, one with the Diamondbacks in 01, and then in 97, and when he was MVP.
Yeah, I
series
believe you're right.
for the Marlins.
Yeah.
So the thing about Dansby is when they won the championship in 21, he showed up. And I think that's what I've always liked about him. That's why I thought he was a really good fit. And I just really was like, ugh, when the Braves let him walk.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I'm Alex Anthopoulos, because to me, going into the offseason, his job's going to be on the line. You got to get your owner to
I mean, the Nationals just cleaned house, and they're the only team that's behind the Braves.
Quit being a cheapskate and spend some money, because they have a great fan base in Atlanta, but it can eradicate quickly if you stink. Okay.
Yeah.
If you start stinking and
I could feel it even over covering the Angels series.
Yeah.
I could feel that energy of, especially going through one dugout to the other dugout. The Angels dugout honestly felt like some old Braves energy. And I know there's a lot of Braves ties to that organization. They're just up and down right now. But I'm just hoping for the best moving forward. We're obviously your home for the Braves here in North Alabama, as well as your home for the Rocket City Trash Pandas. But it was not all seasons are created equal, and I think maybe 0-7 to start the year may have been the biggest sign of, like, hey, this year may not be. Although if there was ever a time to go 0-7,
they
be your first 7 games.
At one time, they were
over 500,
21-14 at one time, I think. And then it looked like they were going to be a contender. Just fell off. And right after that, more injuries happened, and then they just fell off the table. And I mean, it was just, it was just not good. So I just think too, I hate it that Snicker's taking all this heat. I mean, he doesn't have that good a ball club to manage. It's
not on Snit.
He doesn't have the players available.
Yeah.
These are the same people that wanted Bobby Cox fired every year when he didn't win the World Series. I mean, Bobby Cox and Snit are the two best managers in Braves history. Now, I don't think they should fire Snit. Now, if Snit wants to retire at the end of the year, he's 70 years old.
That is the assumption that this is the last year of Snit.
That he could retire. I hated to be on a team like this, but if he wants to retire, he's been a loyal Brave and spent his whole career with them. Yeah, let him go ahead. But, it's interesting. I've seen some of the candidates, Walt Weiss, who's the bench coach now, and he used to manage the Colorado Rockies. We know him well here in the Rocket City. I mean, that would be interesting. I've heard David Ross mentioned. Of course, he's coming off of a run with the Cubs. I don't know. It'll be, and I've even heard
I'm on a DeRosa. I would really.
You mentioned DeRosa.
I want DeRosa. Of course, he's tied in with the World Baseball Classic and a part of MLB Network. But yeah, But here's your starters coming up for the A's series in Sacramento. You got
Sacramento,
Didier Fuentes,
and
then Bryce Elder. Goodness gracious, Bryce Elder, and then Spencer Strider. That is your slated starters for the Braves. But Bryce Elder is just a junk pitcher, and
he's like the Thrift Mart version of Greg Maddux, and he tries. That
hurts my heart.
He tries to locate, but he doesn't locate well enough. And at least Greg, when he wanted to, he just never needed to all the time. But when Greg Maddux wanted to, he could throw 94 miles an hour, but he never had to.
Yeah,
he would change speed. So, but I just think Elder stuff is just mostly high 80s, low 90s. And he doesn't locate as well. He needs to locate to be good. He just can't do it consistently.
I will say he is a Dollar General version of Greg Maddux.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing, yeah.
I mean, the fact that you even compared the two makes me wants me to bop you upside the head more than anything.
That's the way he wants to pitch, though, because he has to, because he's not overpowering.
I've never heard the words Bryce Elder and Greg Maddux in the same sentence. Some tells me I'm never going to hear that again.
Man, he just can't. He can't pitch like Greg, but he tries to. He just can't locate, and not consistently. He may do it for 2 or 3 innings, but then he's going to miss. He's going to fall behind. Going to walk people, and his stuff is just not good enough.
I remember
he needs to pitch to contact.
I want to say it was the second year with Braves radio, and I overheard Maddox saying to one of the relievers that he was setting up a guy for October.
Yeah.
And I went to that reliever and asked him, did I really hear him say he was setting him up for October? Yeah, he does that all the time.
Yeah.
He'll throw something even during a regular season game of guess what? He's going to be looking for that, and that ain't coming.
That's how
I know he hated to throw to Bagwell back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember that. He had names for certain players. I can't say the name for Bagwell.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is there's I don't know if you saw that special on Maddox last year on MLB Network. I had no idea the way he was calling his own game back then was how he was catching the baseball from Eddie Perez. In other words, if he was catching the baseball close to him, it was like an inside fastball, or if he was catching it further away from his torso, it was something else. I mean, the guy was just, he was called Professor for a reason.
Yeah, no question.
Anyway, Bryce Elder, this just in, not Greg Maddox.
No.
Not Greg Maddox.
Heck, Alabama a couple years ago, before 2 times got fired, about 3 years ago, I guess it was, maybe 4
times.
But Brad 2 times, Bohannon 2 times.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
They went to UNLV for a series, and Greg Maddox was the pitching coach for the Rebels because his son was on the team.
Of course he was.
And Alabama swept UNLV.
Well, I think Bama beat both LSU and Coastal Carolina.
Well, that was last year.
I know this past year. I know.
But now knowing what we know, can you believe they went to UNLV? I guess you can.
Well, there we go.
I'd like to see the text and phone records.
So Rob Vaughn got a contract extension.
Yeah, speaking of better times, Rob Vaughn, 5 years and average salary of $1.275 million. So there you go. Getting
I would say
paid.
another solid hire from Greg Byrne.
Yeah, and so far so good. Certainly not the results in the regionals so far, but hey, the thing is you're trying to rebuild the program. It's in the toughest league in the country, and sometimes
I don't think there's any doubt of that.
The toughest,
even from the harshest critic,
the toughest postseason to predict is college baseball, and we saw that this year.
Yep.
And with Murray State going to the World Series and all these crazy
even
things
Coastal
happen.
going on a heater too.
Well, in Coastal, I thought was the best team in the country. They just, I think they ran out of gas against LSU.
They did.
But I didn't have LSU winning it, but they did it. I thought Arkansas had a great shot to get DVA Dave Van Horn his first. That didn't happen. And I thought Auburn had a great chance of getting there, but they ran into Coastal, who was underseeded. Auburn had a hell of a year, man. And it's just
that extra inning loss in the first game, even if it was the middle of the night, was their undoing.
It was just really hard to predict. And then that Miami team that put Alabama in the 1-0-1
that's
hole.
right. That's right.
If you go in the 0-1 hole, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
They end up going. They go to the Supers.
That's right.
And then they almost go to the World Series. They came within one game of going to the World Series. So,
yep.
And they weren't very good going into the playoffs. Baseball, especially college baseball, is just hard to predict.
Yes, it is.
You just got to give people time, and and look what happened to Ole Miss. I thought they had a chance to go back to Omaha and to coach, Bianco. It's just really tough. And now the SEC is even tougher with Brian O'Connor coming to Mississippi State. Because trust me, and Mississippi State finished strong. I mean, they went to the finals of a regional.
I'd like to believe that Coach Maneri still is not done at South Carolina.
They are going to be better. That was just a disaster.
Yeah.
He'll improve them. He's won everywhere he's been. I just can't believe he's not going to win.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just tough. The transfer portal makes it tough the first year. I think he had some injuries too. So, I with his track record, I've got to believe he's going to win. And, congrats to Jay Johnson. I guess maybe they finally found, the next Skip. Skip Burtman. He's won 2 in 3 years.
Yeah.
LSU's always going to put a lot of money and emphasis on baseball. I'm not
Always will.
Not going to take anything away from him. Skip, was the one that started that in the late 80s. One thing that was interesting to see is Skip came over to the dugout and wanted to speak to Coastal Carolina after they dropped the series. He wanted to speak to their head coach. We all know what happened in that crazy game where he got ejected.
Yeah,
Skip's always been a very gracious winner or loser, and Skip's like the godfather of college baseball. If Skip Burtman wants to talk to you, you listen intently to what Skip has to say, because he is, before he came along, the guy was Rod Dato in the 60s and 70s for USC. But the modern era, the GOAT is Skip.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What he did with LSU, Coach Ron Polk was already winning at Mississippi State, but he hadn't won it all. And what Skip did and the way he built programs lit a match for the SEC to take over college baseball. He was the guy when you go back and look at it.
Final call for phone calls. Let's take our final break right now as we're here live at Jefferson's, and it is bustling here in Newmarket, here at Jefferson's. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All good things must come to an end. That holds true for employee pricing, too. Hey, folks, it's Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. The last day for employee pricing is going to be July 7th. Up until then, you can buy the new Ford you want and pay what we pay. We've got nearly 150 F-150s to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Had your eye on a Bronco Sport? It's employee priced, and we've got over 60 to choose from. Full-size Bronco, we've got over 40. New shipments of Explorer, Expedition, and Escape have just hit the ground, too. Again, all things must come to an end, and the last day for employee pricing is July 7th. Time to hit it and get it. Employee pricing can save you up to thousands off MSRP. With over 600 Fords to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find exactly what you need. Woody Anderson Ford. It's important to see us before July 7th.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today. Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
how do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bad compressor, a leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490.
AL certain number 21014.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen. A clear sky and a quiet night expected for the Tennessee Valley for this Monday night. Low temperatures going to be falling into the low 70s. Heading into our Tuesday, a little bit of rain and potentially a few thunderstorms in the forecast for the afternoon. High temperatures once again reach the low 90s.
Your Fox 54 weather only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, if you want to come to Jefferson's, this place is bustling, I'm telling you. Great wings. What did Freddie have?
What flavor did you have, Freddie?
The wings?
Hickory sweet barbecue.
There you go.
I was going to ask if it was Uncle Jesse's, but I don't think it was.
One of the mini televisions has the Rockies and Red Sox on right now. That game is tied at 1. Bottom of the second, with Colorado and Boston squaring off, and then just a bunch of televisions as well as some UAH here. Of course, UAH came out with a new logo.
Yeah, it was
last week.
Yeah, Scott Tyson made me aware of this. It's
So
the
for
first
the
change in a while.
so
I liked it.
I can finally say this out loud since we have changed the logo.
Yeah,
It's about time because they've got a flag up here. Do you see what's inside the horse head, the old logo? An L.
Yeah.
There's an L inside the logo.
Oh, okay.
I've always had a problem with that. Because we don't need to be about L's at UAH. And by the way, they've also adopted UAH and not Alabama Huntsville. I have never said Alabama Huntsville.
It's always been UAH.
It's UAH. It's
Chargers.
always been UAH.
Oh, and by the way, I've got to give a shout out to my boy JD Gossett. Was honored this week by our great friend.
Come on, say his real name.
Yeah, John David Gossett.
And no, that's not his real name.
Well, okay, Riggs.
Thank you. That's his real name.
But Riggs, a.k.a. JD Gossett, will be wearing number 7 this year.
Playing for Lenny Acuff.
For Lenny Acuff. He will not be wearing 5 as we saw in high school. He will be wearing number 7.
Any significance of that? Or
I wondered if he would get 5, but it may have already been claimed. I don't know as far as with all the guys that Lenny brought with him. And because we talked to Lenny on the show at one time, it was going to be one player. And then it was coming back, and that was it. And he was going and out. Like he said, fellas, I'm recruiting an entire team. And he had to flip J.D. Gossett.
I'm excited to see what he can do.
Harrison is going to keep his number 23, because he re-recruited Caleb Harrison.
Yeah,
that's his high school number. So, but you can support Caleb Harrison and J.D. Gossett via Athletes Thread and the Sanford Bulldogs.
There you go. Also read from the Madison County Record, good friend of the station, Bob Labby.
The man that just keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny.
I spoke exclusively to Jose Canseco.
Uh-oh. That's one from back in the day.
Jose Parkway?
No.
He spoke to Jose Canseco.
She wouldn't have known who Jose Parkway was either.
Bob Labby spoke to Jose Canseco for the Madison County Record, of which he spoke about his life turning into a movie. That his life was in turmoil, Labby writes, went through all of his money that he made, including Madonna. That's me plugging that in. In baseball, which was estimated to be around $55 million through bad investments.
Yeah.
Bad investments.
Like steroids?
Canseco said that he had $20 to his name and was living day to day at one point.
Wow.
Even his one child, his daughter, Josie, had stated that he had kept up and took actions of living a rich lifestyle, protecting her father. So she could become a successful model, and she is now 28 years old. But
boy, I feel old.
Unfortunately,
Canseco,
unfortunately, the title Boogie Nights is already taken.
wow.
Yeah.
Although I will tell you, they're replaying that a good bit on Paramount Plus right now.
Yeah. Hey, I saw a good movie on Prime this weekend. At least it's funny if you hate scammers, and I hate them. The Beekeeper.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know who you're messing with.
I just want to know if this movie for Parkway Jose will be 100% accurate, or how much this is going to be edited
or in
by
other words,
Canseco.
This would be a baseball version of Swamp Kings.
History is written by the guy who signs the check.
That's correct.
Urban Meyer's version of the Florida Gators.
Yeah, that I did not even watch that.
I did not even
because
either.
that's all I needed to know as to who was around. Although Michael Jordan heavily edited The Last Dance.
Well, yes, he did, but I still believe a lot of that. And look, I know there were some things I'm sure they left out, but I didn't think Michael tried to paint himself any differently than everybody had judged him at all. He certainly.
So you're going to sign up for a Jose Canseco movie?
No, I will not.
Even if the part of it is based here in Huntsville.
I doubt it. He wasn't in Huntsville very long.
No, it was not.
It's like I just told Freddie off the air. If you look at it, Martin McGuire and Canseco, neither were even here half a season.
That's right. And
they were gone.
With the relationship with the Athletics.
But as good as that team became, you took pride in the fact that pretty much all of them came through. And that first year, then Martin McGuire wasn't part of it the first year. Jose was, but it was a great ball club. I mean, that won the Southern League championship.
Yeah.
And did it without Jose because he was long gone.
Yeah.
But still, it was a great ball club.
I had dingers.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did across the parkway.
And like it or not, I mean, that Juice era, I wonder if he is going to embrace of him kind of being the Pied Piper, maybe.
I don't have any memories of him that when he was originally here.
Yeah.
But I do when he came and rehabbed and stuff, because there was several times he got hurt and he came back to Huntsville, and I always tried to catch him.
See, that's when I know. That's when I saw.
Yeah, see that exactly, Brian, I'm going to freely admit when he did the 40-40, he was the first one that did it, and it was a big deal. I was a big Canseco fan at that time, and I was ecstatic when they won the World Series.
That's still a tough thing to do.
It is, and then I was ecstatic when they won it in the World Series in '89. And one of my low points as a kid is Kirk friggin' Gibson instead of Aaron bleeping Boone, like a lot of Red Sox fan. I'm Kirk frickin' Gibson.
Really? You didn't like that moment?
Hell no.
I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Dodger fan either, but I mean,
I'm thinking X automatic. The A's are going to have a dynasty. They all were from Huntsville, the Huntsville Stars. This is great.
Okay.
And then puke in the floor.
I was expecting to hear choke on sauce, but
I mean, Eck didn't choke. I mean, good Lord. I mean, Eck hit a one-legged bomb. I mean, Gibby hit a one-legged. I mean, Gibby was just a competitor. That's all you got to say. But the Tebow thing you mentioned a few minutes ago, that's kind of the same. You got to kind of begrudgingly give respect to Kirk. You hate the moment, but Kirk Gibson was a winner. I mean, he
really was.
He led the Detroit Tigers to a friggin' championship and the Dodgers. And and that year, people forget, before he got hurt. Kirk was the MVP of the National League. Now his numbers certainly were dwarfed. He was not juicing, bro.
No,
there is no way. But
he was medicating on beer.
And then, but you got to give, and I had a great respect for Tom Lasorda. You got to remember how Tommy just revered Kirk. And let's not forget, he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, what a run Oral Hershiser had that year.
Yeah.
Talking about somebody didn't have the stuff, like he wasn't throwing 95, but my goodness.
Well, I even remember Oral 95 with the Indians.
Oh, yeah. He got hot again.
I mean, and yes, I said the Indians.
Mm-hmm. Mistake by the leg.
Yes. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I mean,
so
Oral was another guy. He always showed up in the postseason, bro.
Money guy. Him, Smoltz, those guys just cut from a different cloth.
Jack Norris puking the floor, but you got to respect him.
You just want to say Kurt, at Herbeck and just be, really.
Lonnie, please run the bases. That's all you're saying.
So a big thank you to Jefferson's for hosting us. I'm going to try not to think about what Drew just said right there. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the Savings Never Tasted So Good banner. You can get $50 of Jefferson's for only $25 later on this week. We've got a lot of great deals for you. And yes, we are live this week, walking you up to SEC Media Days. The boys in the morning will be live from Bill Penny Toyota.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. This hour of the